What happened was that I found out later that that was not the only part of the order. They also issued an order to freeze all my assets in Brazil, which was a considerable amount.
Yeah.
They also issued an order to a fine for every time I said anything they disagreed and considered fake news. And they also canceled my Brazilian passport, which is almost unheard of. It was until then. And so I can't go back even if I want to.
Wow.
I didn't sign up for this. I moved to the US in 2015, but I used to go to Brazil very often. But now I can't. So if my father, God forbid, if he dies, I can't bury him. It's like I can't go back to my country. I can't go back to family parties. I can't visit my friends. I can't see my parents unless they come here. I can't see.
And to be clear, you've never been convicted of anything.
I haven't been charged.
Yeah.
Or I haven't been served of any investigation against me. And that's a never-ending probe that never became an actual case with charge being pressed, nothing.
Now, is this all after the election of last year? Or you're talking about before then? Because I know that there were a ton of people arrested after that, right?
That was before.
Okay, so you're still before the election of last year. Okay.
And then they started going. On the elections, that's when things started to go completely
right. Okay.
The Superior Electoral Court decided to grant themselves the power to censor people. It was temporary just to guarantee the integrity of the election and protect democracy. And they said it would only last during the elections. It was an exceptional measure and all that. So in December 2022, during 2022, I started going live to the news shows, and I used to receive court orders from the station saying, look, you can't say that Lula is an unconvicted felon. And I was like, what? He is. No, but you can't say that because this will mislead people, according to the court. I was like, okay. Well, you can't say he's a friend of Maduro and Ortega, the dictators of Venezuela and Nicaragua. I was like, but he is. No, but you can't say that. That might mislead people. And one thing after the other, I couldn't say on air. And I was like, I haven't heard of this happening. This is new. On TV. And I'm talking about cable TV, regular, like Fox News, okay? And then on December 30th, 2022, all that time I was doing it from the US, okay? So from the studio in my house, not in Brazil, broadcasting from my house in Florida. So in December 2022, I was skiing in Wisconsin. I got a phone call. It was a source that worked for a big tech company saying, I got a court order saying that we have 2 hours to take you down our social media. And I assume everyone else got the same order. So you have 2 hours and then you'll be gone. And we're talking about like 1.5 million people on Twitter, 1.1 million people on YouTube. It's like really, really more than 5 million people if you add the platforms. And it happened to another colleague of mine of the same station. And then Lula got elected, he took office. And
wait, so what did you do after that phone call? Before we get to that?
I was still on TV.
Yeah.
So I decided, I called the station and said, look, put me on. It's like, put me on my show. Although I'm not supposed to go there, I'm going to tell people what happened. And I went live streaming on Instagram saying, look, guys, I'm going to disappear.
Yeah.
I did not die.
Yeah.
And I went on TV. They let me go and they let me speak. But then I disappeared completely from social media. I opened other ones to openly defy the court orders, which is completely illegal.
Is that when you got on Rumble?
That's when I got on Rumble and Locals.
Yeah.
And so I started opening other. Rumble Locals were very nice to me. They gave me all the support. They understood the situation of Brazil. Locals even translated the platform to Portuguese, and that was very cool. So what could I do, right? But right now, my show, even with everything being blocked, I'm now broadcasting for like 8 different channels. And my show is right now the #1 show on my time slot again. So it's like, even with all the censorship, it's impossible to stop us.
But how worried are you, just in terms? Well, first off, how often do you go back down there, if ever? And right, so you basically are. You're not a refugee. Well, in some sense, you're a refugee from your own country.
It's what happened was that I found out later that was not the only part of the order. They also issued an order to freeze all my assets in Brazil, which was a considerable amount.
Yeah.
They also issued an order to a fine for every time I said anything they disagreed and considered fake news. And they also canceled my Brazilian passport, which is almost unheard of. It was until then. And so I can't go back even if I want to.
Wow.
I didn't sign up for this. I moved to the US in 2015, but I used to go to Brazil very often. But now I can't. So if my father, God forbid, if he dies, I can't bury him. So I can't go back to my country. I can't go back to family parties. I can't visit my friends. I can't see my parents unless they come here. I can't see.
And to be clear, you've never been convicted of anything.
I haven't been charged.
Yeah.
Or I haven't been served of any investigation against me. And it's a never-ending probe that never became an actual case with charge being pressed, nothing.
Right.
So and that's the situation. Other people are in the same situation.
So let's connect this to what's going on with Elon, because then I think now we're really seeing this scale across countries. I mean, even when you talk about bank accounts being frozen, I'm sure every single person watching this immediately thinks back to the Canadian bankers,
right?
The Canadian truckers having their bank accounts frozen. They don't freeze the bank accounts of the bankers, just the truckers.
Yeah.
Not yet. We'll see.
Unless
we'll
this is a right-wing banker.
Exactly. Right. Who's like side gig as a trucker.
Exactly.
Well, can you talk a little bit about now how this has escalated in this situation as it pertains to Elon, and then we'll talk about how it's kind of scaling around the world.
What's very interesting is that, well, you spent quite some time on X, and you saw how committed they are with free speech. What is very weird is that, of course, we know because of the Twitter files that they were not committed before Elon by Twitter at all, right?
Yeah.
You saw the mass it is, the algorithm, not even then know how, and can't figure out what's going on in there, right? But weirdly enough, in Brazil, the guys from Twitter, I'm talking about the same guys who were cozy with the FBI, censoring Hunter Biden laptop story. It's like these same guys, they were shocked with what was going on in Brazil. And because of the Twitter files that Michael Schallenberger published, because of that, we know that Twitter was sending emails to the Twitter office in Brazil to the US saying, these guys are crazy. What they're doing here is, we've never seen anything like this. And the guys from this, I think that says a lot. The guys from Twitter US were like, wow, what's going on? That's like Xi Jinping gives you a call and say, look, if you didn't stop, you're going too far.
Yeah, this is a bit much even for me.
Exactly. So, and they were, because the court orders that they were receiving were like that. And Schallenberger published these files that he got from the Twitter files from Brazil. So all these communications. And some way, I think that raised awareness about the situation, and that got into Elon Musk's radar. And one day he decided to tweet to Alexander saying, why are you censoring the Brazilian people so much? I think he had a chance to look into that. And he started to pretty much, he said he didn't do it yet, that he was going to raise all restrictions in Brazil because they were illegal. And what was very weird is because I never had access to the court orders against me until last week when I was in Congress on the Judiciary Committee. I was talking to them, explaining the situation in Brazil. And that's when they asked, "Do you ever see the orders against you?" I was like, "No, I haven't." And they're like, "Do you want to see it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." They gave me a folder with all the orders against me. I was like, wow. And they were, well, we subpoena acts for the files. We got them and we're going to make them public. And that was like an A-bomb in Brazil because it brought light to everything that Moraes was doing. Just to give you an idea, the order against me has one page. And a part of this order says that the social media platform can't make the information public, so I don't know what's happening. The only reason I know is because I got a source telling me, and of course I suspect it, but I never saw the order. So there was no way to appeal because you're never notified.
Right.
So if you're not notified, you can't appeal. And even if you could, it's the Supreme Court. So who are you going to appeal to? So, and this has been ongoing. And then when Musk said that he was going to lift restrictions, Moraes put him on the same as a person of interest being investigated in the same probe as I. So we're now buddies.
Right. So this is just in the last couple of weeks, and
Yes.
Twitter in Brazil is now open still, or is it closed? I know that Argentina offered to bring the employees over and everything else, but does it even exist there now?
So we're very curious about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So far, Elon said he was going to lift the restrictions in Brazil, but on the other hand, his team of attorneys in Brazil said they're going to still comply with all the decisions in Brazil. Not that they haven't filed any appeals. They filed over 100 appeals. None of them were even looking into. They don't care.
Right.
And it's the Supreme Court, so you're appealing to them.
In this case, you're literally appealing to the people who opened the investigation.
Yes.
Psychotic. I mean, that's banana republic level stuff.
And it's interesting because if you think about it, on this probe, they're the victims because they say the slander's against them. It's an attack against their institution. They are the investigators. They are the prosecutors. And there are the judges. Can you imagine? There's nothing like that anywhere in the world.
If you're looking for more enlightening conversations about international issues, check out our international playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.